Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure being with you every Saturday morning on the program, The Woman. On to today's edition of the program, we will be talking about female leadership and technology. And as guest on today's edition is Madam Viola Llewelyn. She is the co-founder of Ovamba Solutions. We'll be meeting our guest after the break. You're welcome back. Viola Llewelyn is the co-founder of Ovamba Solutions. Good morning, Viola. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ruth. It's such a joy to be here. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Now, am I supposed to call you Ruth or Jamia?
What you prefer?
Okay, because I like both of them.
Okay. So, who is Viola Llewelyn?
Well, it's me. I am the co-founder and president of Ovamba Solutions, Inc. I'm the general manager of our Cameroon branch, which is in Douala, Bonapriso. And I am the daughter of two Cameroonians who, just like the rest of the diaspora, has been looking at Africa as a place for us to return to in order to help the continent to grow.
So, general manager of Ovamba Solutions, how did you begin with your business ventures?
I never thought that I was going to be in business. Like many women, we view ourselves as very helpful lieutenants in somebody else's dreams or somebody else's business or in a family. Around about 2008, 2009, after the last financial crash, I decided I wanted to go work for myself. And I was fortunate enough to be introduced by my dear friend Selena Gill to a great guy called Marvin Cole. And we sat down at lunch in Maryland and found we had so much in common. And I have to say, since the day I met my business partner, Marvin, we've literally been inseparable. And we tried to think about ways in which to help the continent, because as with all things, it took an outsider to tell us how great Africa is. And Marvin said to me, Africa's going to be big one day. And I remember saying to him, no, it's not. I've been there. It's a mess. And he explained, it's because it's a mess that it will be big one day. Because wherever there are problems that need solutions, that's where success is to be had. So we started working together, and we had quite a number of different business models and ventures before this. And Ovamba got started in 2013, and that's how we ended up here.
Yeah. Though Marvin, your collaborator told you that, or you thought that Africa still had a long way to go when it comes to business. What encouraged you? What told you inside of you that no, coming to Africa to come and establish a business, you're gonna make it?
Nothing whatsoever. There is no way that you can think that it's going to be the way you think it's going to be. We are always in an arena within our minds of what we believe realities are until we hit the ground. In my mind, I really thought that everybody was going to be so open-armed, we're coming from abroad, we're coming to show them how to do it. Nothing could be further from the truth. And this is a serious warning to the diaspora. It's not a case of people sitting here waiting to be saved because they don't know what they're doing. It's a case of coming to collaborate and work together and to listen very keenly to what the issues and the problems are. The brave bit comes when you come into contact with existing ideas and opinions, when you're trying to enable some sort of innovation, and all change is painful, as you can imagine, Ruth. And so we did not come thinking, oh, we're going to be a great success. We came wanting to be of help. We came wanting to solve a problem: access to credit. No money for SMEs.
Okay, access to credit and funding for small and medium-sized enterprises. Can you tell us what are the services of Ovamba?
Yeah, let me first define, although within our lexicon in Ovamba the word credit is not used because that is the province of banks, and Ovamba is not a bank. We are really a Sharia structure. And those who are really in the know, they've recognized that. It's not something that we lead with. But we help SMEs to grow by giving them access to both global, international, and domestic sources for the inventory that they need to grow, that they need to sell more of. The issue and the challenge comes around banks not being able to measure SME risk in order to give them the capital that they need. But we mitigate risk by buying their goods for them, importing them under a product that we call growth as a service, which you can hashtag. You go on our website, www.ovamba.com, and you can learn more about it. But that is our angle to it. We're not a bank. We don't ever want to be a bank. We just want to be a business solution that support SMEs with their very realistic issues and problems.
So how does it work? Who are your clients?
Our clients at the moment are those within the Southwest and Northwest region, and believe me, we get so many requests from places as far away as Kenya and Pakistan of companies that come to us and say, I need to import goods, I need to buy products, and Ovamba will take a look at them both from a social, a personal, a business, a cultural, and even an ethnic standpoint to figure out who is this SME really. Ruth, I'm sure in the conversations that you and I have had as we've been developing our relationship, we look around the continent and we see a lot of solutions that come from outside that are not geared towards Africa's realistic situation. They're not Africa sensitive. But we understand that the SME of Africa is a totally different human being from, let's say, in Cyprus or some other place. So when they apply on our platform or on our mobile app, which is downloadable on Google, they get an immediate answer within about 60 seconds if they are pre-qualified. At that point, Ovamba takes an assessment of their needs, will buy their goods from wherever they need to be bought from, will import them, do the customs clearance, and all of this is built into the structure of the facility that we provide them, and the whole thing is put together with a fee. Our very unique algorithm measures the risk, the goods come in, and it's at that point that something really magical happens, especially for young entrepreneurs who have not had a chance to get any kind of additional funding to help them expand. The goods are imported, and we will warehouse those goods, and the customer buys the goods back from us over a period of maybe 6 months or maybe 1 year. And that's how that works. That's the simplest thing we do. Ovamba is a trade-enabled innovator where customers can buy and sell their goods through us in order to get access to more product compared to if a bank were to, quote-unquote, give them money.
Okay, what are the criteria for choosing your clients?
Men and women are welcome. Must be age 21. They have to be in the country where we're operating, which is Douala for now. They have to be in one of the sectors that we work in, and it's easier for us to say what we don't work in. We don't do alcohol, tobacco, timber, mining, extractive industries, or primary alcohol. They have to have a company that has been formally registered, or we even do deal with the informal, but that's another story. And they have to have the ability to have collateral available. Now, banks deal mostly with land titles and houses. Ovamba's structure allows us to use the goods that are in transit as the collateral, the asset itself that we're using to underpin the transaction.
Okay, are funds given to clients refundable?
Completely. We are here for profit. Don't let anybody fool you. Africa is no longer open for charity. It doesn't work for growing economies. The capital must be refunded plus the fee that was levied on it. We raise our capital from investors from abroad. We want companies to be profitable. We want them to grow.
As a woman in business and a female leader, what are some of the challenges that you've been facing being a female leader? And I think it's not easy in a world where men want to always be at the front of...
Luckily for me, not all men are like that, and my problems are the same as men's problems. I want to hire good staff. I want to create a good product. I want traction. I want to be taken seriously, and that's within my control. No man is available to tell me what to do or not to do. My father didn't raise me that way. And I think we will one day come to a day where those questions are no longer applicable. My advice to women out there is don't get caught up in the stereotype. Create your own reality. So I would say the challenges for women in business are really down to opportunity and in the VC space, access to investment capital. But that's where women can help each other, right?
Yeah. Any follow-up for your clients?
Yes, we are really seeking to support the ecosystem for business and SME growth in Africa. We're very proud that we started in Cameroon. Cameroon is a great place for business. We want our SMEs to get on our website, and we want them to apply for capital, and we want them to let us help them, and we want them to realize it's a brand new day. We're not a bank. come with an open mind and learn how to get growth as a service from us.
Okay. Can you evaluate how many clients you've had so far in Cameroon?
Over 200, and many of them are repeat. We've got customers like Mr. Tria in Douala, Mr. Chassis, Madam Pecker, who I believe you met when you came to our office, who are on their third and fourth transactions. And then there are those in the southwest and northwest who I know are waiting for us ever since the breakdown in the economical continuum with the Anglophone problem and the impact of having no internet has. We're here to help them with new ideas to get them jump-started.
Okay, talking about your clients, let's now watch and listen to what your clients have benefited from your services so far.
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Have possibility of actually growing their businesses. But since the coming of Ovamba, I think me particularly and even many Cameroonians who must have benefited from their services are today talking about how to grow their business out of Cameroon and no longer talking about having funds or having available goods to actually respond to the high demand.
Satisfied, would you recommend other people to come and try the services of Ovamba?
Yes, of course. This is actually what I am struggling to do, to tell those young Cameroonians that I have tried and it is working. So everyone should not work for the government, because if everybody works, no one will employ. So we should struggle, we youth, and me particularly, I have tried, and I am actually the umbrella. I am actually the umbrella of approximately 80 to 40 Cameroonians, thanks to the services or assistance of Ovamba. So I am like telling my fellow Cameroonians who are out there, and especially youths like me, that you don't just have to sit, fold your arms and say, oh, I have to work for the government. You can equally be your own boss. I have tried. Today, you know, in 2008, I did not have a working capital of up to 1 million francs CFA. But if I can tell you that I have approximately 30 to 40 Cameroonians who are working under my umbrella, you then understand that Ovamba since 2018 have done something very surprisingly in the life of my company and that of my employees. So I am actually encouraging those who are still left behind, or those who do not know the services that are being provided by Ovamba. It is easy. You just have to come up with an idea, come up with an organization. I want to mean a company. Then you try to choose a service, or you try to choose a particular product. You come to Ovamba, you sell your idea. If your idea is such that they can buy, I think financing will no longer, funding the idea or funding your company is no longer a problem. It is possible, because some of you out there will think that, oh, how do Ovamba give me money without me having a house or without me having a land certificate? Of course, with Ovamba, it is possible to have funding to be funded without you having a land certificate. It is possible for your company to be funded without you being having made like 5 years in the field. They have been doing so, I have seen, and this is how I have transformed my business from what it was in 2018 to the present situation you can see today. And with the new services that Ovamba just brought into the market, I think in the next 2 or 3 years I will be extending my businesses to Congo, to Chad, and even Central African Republic. And this is actually what will grow the economy of the Central African sub-region.
Thank you. You spoke.
Ça fait déjà presque un bon bout de temps, je dirais 1 an, que je suis avec Ovamba.
Et vous avez fait quel genre d'activité là?
Je suis dans le matériau de construction, dans ce qu'on appelle généralement la quincaillerie. Oui, donc c'est mon domaine d'activité. Et je suis dans ce domaine depuis presque 25 ans que j'exerce dans ça. Et j'ai eu vraiment un plaisir d'avoir des contacts avec Ovamba, qui a essayé, je ne dirais pas essayé, qui nous a boosté un peu dans notre activité.
Notre entreprise offre beaucoup de services, les motos personnelles, les motos commerciales, communément appelées bensikines, les tricycles pour porter les bagages, et les lubrifiants, moteurs, motos, et les accessoires motos. Nous sont dans le service après vente. Avec Ovamba, c'est depuis 2015. Et le service avec Ovamba, depuis que j'ai connu Ovamba, le service est très bien, puisque Ovamba s'occupe de mes achats. Et partout dans le monde entier, en effet, dans les pays où je fais mon business, Ovamba s'occupe des achats. Donc, du côté service, je trouve ça appréciable. La qualité du service, la qualité du personnel mis sur pied pour suivre les clients, je trouve vraiment Ovamba très parfait.
You're welcome back to the show. There we just watched some of the clients telling us how satisfied they've been so far with the services of Ovamba.
It
So
warms my
listening
heart.
to them, what are your feelings?
Well, I feel incredibly proud of what we've been able to do. And I feel even more dedicated to supporting them with continued transactions and to finding more customers that understand that there is something else to do other than the traditional banking method for helping them to grow. I think it's really exciting. And I'm really glad that you got to see it as well. Did
Okay.
you enjoy the day?
Yes, I did. I did. So now, what's your opinion on the business climate in Africa and Cameroon?
The business climate is, in my opinion, an ecosystem that is ready for shaping and reshaping. Everywhere you look, when you walk down the streets, for example, I took one of our investors, Mr. Bob Sheehan, came to Cameroon. This is your average white American male from Virginia, had never had anything to do with Africa other than the unfortunate narrative around warlords, exploitation, starving babies, wars, and all the rest of the stuff that gets promoted outside of our borders. And he could not believe the volume of business. You walk down the street anywhere and you see somebody buying and selling something. The ecosystem for Africa as it relates to business is underpinned by the fact that I don't think that there are any Africans, especially in Cameroon, who receive any kind of assistance or stipend from the government because they don't work, can't work, or won't work. Everybody has to feed themselves. That's to be celebrated and to be respected. Ovamba believes that we can create a brand new arena where individuals can win on merit, where SMEs can receive support and help and growth from when they are small to medium and large. But more importantly, that we need to develop what we call the missing middle. Those companies and those entrepreneurs who are truly just trying to feed their families, build a life, have more than just their family as employees. We're very excited about this. This gap is somewhere counted as 3.2 billion in credit gap, not available to help these people grow, and Ovamba would be the platform for that.
Okay, so many investors have come and gone. What makes the strength of Ovamba?
I love that question. I think the difference is our technology, the transparency, the openness with which we operate, and our disciplined execution of global standards for investment management. You cannot survive in business if you are not adhering to the most perfect standards. Everybody in my office knows what the drill is. Investors come to us because they understand that Ovamba is incredibly accurate in the way we measure SMA risk. The fact that our recovery rate with our customers is so high because we use the goods as the asset in transit instead of putting customers into difficult situations where they are doomed to fail because the business systems and the processes and products are not geared towards their reality. Our investors are Crowd Credit, Courtyard, to name a few. Bob Sheehan himself, and would you believe it, about 20-something Americans who are sitting on the sidelines looking for another opportunity to continue to invest in Ovamba. And we would like to find some Cameroonian investors too.
Okay, being in business for so many years now, what do you think? Do you think women are faced with many challenges than the men? Or men have so many opportunities than the women?
I think it's because the mental image of what a successful human being in business is tends to be wearing trousers even though some women, Hillary Clinton for example, they do wear trousers too. But I think that the issue is that we have all begun to rally around the same old idea that men are better than women. They're not. If you look at the statistics, any company that has a minimum complement of, I believe it is 23% women in leadership, have been seen to realize 15% more success in both profit, returns, and investment. This is because the way women think tends to be a little bit more broad spectrum. And women are also noted at being much faster to get help from mentors or seek advice. You need to have men and women working together. It's not so much about, oh, let's only raise women, although I do believe in that. It's about making sure that men are educated to work with women and bring out the best in them. So the specific answer to your question is, we do not always get a fair shake at opportunity. And I'll also say the uncomfortable thing, women don't always trust women. But that's getting better every day.
Okay. Women contribute so
Big
much
time.
in the economy of a country when it comes to the economic growth of a country, but are yet to have access to fundings. What accounts for that?
The inability to underwrite risk in favor of women is number one. The way certain rules and regulations are set up for when a woman walks into a bank or walks into any institution. Let's take our very first customer that came to us. She was a pharmacy owner. And every time she went to a bank, they said, you're a scientist, you're not a business person. So all she could do was go to Njangi or go to family. The stereotypes around women and the effect of our curriculum on women and their ability to be ready for business is part of the issue. Yet again, I really think that it's just down to opportunity and fairness and to remove those stereotypes that prevent us from having access.
Okay. Does a woman make a better entrepreneur than a man?
It all depends on the circumstances. We operate differently. I actually do not like to think in terms of who's better than the other. Women can function in a different capacity to men and do very well. It's not about being better, it's about working together. Women bring a lot to the table. They really, really, really do. For example, you came to our office, you saw Marvin and I working together. Marvin is incredibly analytical. He's a brilliant mind. He has a long view strategy and view for our company. I am very good at communicating and implementing. Some people might view those as soft and hard techniques. They're not. When they're put together, they're incredibly powerful.
So what are some of the other activities that Ovamba is offering for women?
The same activities we offer to men. Our doors are completely open to both genders. We believe in equality and diversity of the gender, and that is the bottom line. When a woman comes in and she applies for funding, because of the way our risk underwriting process works, we're taking her as a woman. She's got different issues, different challenges. We all know that, for example, as you get into the more micro side of the risk continuum, a woman's driven by her ability to sustain her family. She's less likely to do anything risky to it. Men are wired differently for risk. We take that into account. And those are important issues. We shouldn't deny them.
Okay. Though the efforts that governments put in place so that the situation of women should be better off, why are some women still feet dragging to be entrepreneurs or to occupy political posts?
Not enough strong role models, period. Let me take the case of my niece. She's 9 years old. I spend every waking moment that I'm in her presence trying to prevent the attrition of her confidence. Our school systems don't actually gear themselves to making sure that when women get into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, that they stay all the way through. Some male teachers have even been known to discount women and their opinions and their ability to study the sciences. And then by the time they get to university and the legislative and labor laws affect their ability to also have children and work and have equal pay, next thing you know, they're making sacrifices that men don't normally make. And so therefore, they have twice as hard a time to make it through to the very higher upper echelons of business. This is why they've got to build it for themselves.
After the Beijing conference, the situation of the African woman and the Cameroonian woman today, what can you say? Have they evolved?
I don't know, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't know anything about that till I started doing business in Cameroon. But this is what I can tell you. Evolution is in direct relationship to socioeconomic situations. Women have to work together to support each other. We are evolving every day. I think the issue is that we do not always celebrate the great things that some women do. There are women who have stayed in the background who are driving humongous economies, big shifts. We don't always get to hear about them, and we need to celebrate them more and provide more role models for our daughters so that we're not talking about Beijing anymore. We're talking about the continual rise of women in business globally.
Okay. Marvin Cole and other male colleagues now tell us how it feels working with Viola. We'll be right back.
Oh dear.
And it's been great having a partner that is a strong complement in terms of skill sets, personality, etc. So one thing you probably notice with Avamba as a whole is that we're relatively well balanced gender-wise. So we are, I think, 56%, 60% women employees, which is unusual for a tech firm. But we've realized, partly through Val's leadership, that the women in Cameroon, the women in Africa, and just around the world, are probably one of the great undiscovered resources when it comes to building great companies. They've been incredibly loyal, incredibly talented, and especially in more traditional societies, a chance to get these young, bright, brilliant women to have an opportunity to work with us, to become their best selves and to professionally advance, where it's only about the work and we don't care about age or gender, etc. We've gotten great results. Viola's especially strong in mentoring these young ladies and being a role model. Just from an equal in every way, we started career together as full equals. And I do think that having a strong woman leader at the helm of the company alongside me helps other people understand that they can get there as well. And there's a model for how to be a leader without trying to take on, let's call it, the more masculine supposed traits. But be true to yourself, enjoy who you are, and be strong. So I think her authenticity is one of the things that makes us really strong. She's been a fantastic friend.
Et je travaille ici avant depuis cela pratiquement 2 ans. Je commence exactement en août 2015 et je suis recruté comme scandaliste. Et vu mon état, je ne vois pas une différence. Je travaille comme tous les autres. Et ce qu'il faut noter, c'est que Bamba a mis à ma disposition un moyen de déplacement pour me faciliter le travail. Comme vous voyez à côté là, il y a une machine. Et là, quand j'ai envie d'aller aux toilettes, dans d'autres bureaux, je me prépare facilement. Donc, il n'y a pas un souci, je me sens très à l'aise. Pas de frustration, même traitement comme les autres. Donc, en ce qui concerne mon état physique, moi, je pense que il n'y a pas d'inquiétude.
Working with a female general manager has been really cool this far. It's actually interesting, and our co-founder Viola is a very simple person, very accessible, and yeah, you don't actually feel it like with the general culture and appearance over here. Female general manager, no, it's really not an obstacle. The work environment is very conducive, and we move along really okay.
You're welcome back to the show. There we were listening to the male colleagues of Viola, who were telling us there how it feels working with a female leader. Some men do think that working with a female leader, it doesn't go. What do you think about such men? What can you tell them?
I don't
Because
think about
I know
such
many
men.
of them are watching us right now.
I don't think about such men. They don't count. They are not part of my reality. We have to create our own reality. If men don't want to be around women, they should go play with other men. I don't think about them.
Okay, you have a concept, fine tech. Can you tell us about fintech?
Yes, fintech is not our concept. This is an industry description of the creation of technologies to deliver financial services to the banked and unbanked. For years, decades even, we have had this huge divide between those who are considered ready and able to take bank services, and banks tend to operate within the commercial zone only. And then there are those, as we said, in the missing middle and small and micro. Some of our customers can't go into a bank and fill out an application form because they either have business or functional illiteracy. If you look at the forms that are offered to them, they can't make sense of it and they don't take the risk. Or they may be too far away or are too small for a bank to consider them for an LC and international transactions. That's where Ovamba comes in. And I'm really excited because I didn't tell you this, Ruth, but we got selected by Microsoft on a partnership basis. They reached out to us and they are helping us to build an app to deal with this issue in order to help those who don't maybe speak English or French can use their own native dialects to operate through Ovamba's app using smart apps and voice recognition to be able to apply for funding. We will completely cover this continent with financial technologies to provide accessibility.
Okay. What's women involvement in technology and finance?
Wow. It is an exploding, growing sector. There are names I could call from Nicole Anderson from South Africa, all the way through to Monique Ntumdia in green technologies, and Rebecca Nonchong, Oracle and apps developer, a platinum level for Oracle. The women in my office themselves, there are so many women in tech. There is a report called Digital Undivided that talks about it. A great guy in the United States, Sam Moore, who takes a look at femtech. It's for the first time ever, I can say the promise of technology removes boundaries. It gives an anonymity. It provides an ability for lack of bias, so people don't have a preconceived idea as to who they're operating with. Technology will bring a great democracy within accessibility regardless of the sector. And as it relates to finance, I've always said to women, whatever you do, get as close to the money because that's where the seat of power is. Women should be at the table to make the decisions that are important for affecting themselves and others and the economies at large. After all, we're recipients of its results.
Okay, which means technology is an indispensable asset to economic growth.
The one cannot be without the other. This is the brand new revolution. It's not about the revolution being televised. The revolution has gone digital. And finance and technology are bedfellows today.
So recognized in 2014 as one of the most notable in Africa, with your occupying the 9th position. What was it all about and what were your feelings when you were choosing?
I couldn't believe it. My very dear friend Julian Kiganda in Washington, D.C., has been with me on this journey of business development since I started 8 years ago. I was sitting in the car coming back from another business trip here to Cameroon to work with the staff, and I opened my phone and I see this amongst these amazing individuals who I've always looked up to, and I was so grateful and I was humbled, but it put me under a lot of pressure because now I have to really behave myself and make sure that I pay it forward and help those coming behind me. So I was very honored, and I thank her and everybody else who voted for me.
Okay. We'll have some questions. There are some text messages coming in, and we'll have to satisfy some of our viewers. Good morning, please. How can I get to Ovamba?
You can get to us in two ways. You can come to www.ovamba.com and apply for funding or ask any questions that you have, or seek a job if you're looking for one. Or you can download our app from Google, and it is called Ovamba Plus, and it will be on your handheld device, and no matter where you are in the world, you can apply for funding with Ovamba right there, right then. You won't have to wait to come home and see how much capital you can have provided for you to buy your inventory.
Okay, another worry from a viewer. What if you already imported your goods? Can you help in marketing them? That is, getting a market for goods that are entering Cameroon for the first time.
Absolutely, fantastic question. Growth as a service has a few parts. There's the e-commerce section, then there's the customs clearance portion where we have customers who have already bought their goods. They just need that extra bit of money to get the goods out because, as you know, the ports are choked, demurrage fees go high, and that can really eat into your bottom line and into your profit margins. And then there is the distribution and the logistics. For young entrepreneurs who don't have the capital to build all of this infrastructure, Ovamba will help you to acquire your goods, and we will put them in a warehouse where you come and buy your goods back from us over a period of time on a stock rotational basis that fits your cash flow. And that's one of the issues of entrepreneurs is cash flow management. Banks can't help you with that. We can. So to that customer, please get online, apply for funding for just the customs clearance portion of your business needs.
Okay. Another question. Bonjour, belle émission. Je veux le contact de Ovamba Cameroun, s'il te plaît.
I'm going to need a translation because if you hear my French, it's a little
It's
odd.
horrible. No, this other viewer is asking if he can have your contact.
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me, you can Google me. You can go to the Ovamba website and you can ask a question and you can reach me in any way that you can. It's all up to you. This is the digital age after all.
Okay. Now, let's get now to a little bit of privacy.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe we'll touch the behind of Viola.
Ruth, you realize that sounds strange, right?
When I
Nobody's
talk about
touching back.
touching back or seeing what you tell us what you do when you are not talking business.
Really? You really, are you sure you want to know that?
Yeah, I want to know because maybe so many who are watching us right now will say, that lady, she's a serious lady. I mean, in their minds, they have so many things that are crossing by asking so many questions. How do you distract yourself away from work, away from talking business?
Cartoons, Batman, dancing in my kitchen, hanging out with my friends, cooking, hanging out with my fantastic husband, Vincent Llewelyn, who without him, none of this would have been possible at all. And harassing people like my assistant, Pascaline Ndongo, with all kinds of questions, but mostly contact with other human beings. I live in the United States. I was born in London. I went to America on vacation. I live in the States. I come to Cameroon to work with my team, and I'm usually here 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. I go home for about a month, and it's very mentally and emotionally exhausting sometimes. Everybody needs to recharge, and for me, it's cartoons.
Okay.
Oh, and karaoke.
Okay, there is one question that just crossed my mind now. You were born in the UK, you studied in the UK.
Yep.
Coming to Cameroon after, you've never been to Cameroon. So how did you what was the drive coming to Cameroon? And when did you come to Cameroon for the first time? How were you received by maybe family members, other extended family members who've never seen you?
That is one of the most amazing questions anybody has asked me, and it's probably the most pivotal question you could ask about me as a human being. I was born in London in 1966, and I was born to a Bafo mother and a Bangwa father. And my mother was very concerned that from a cultural standpoint, there would be too much of a divide if we grew up into adulthood in the Western world without having had direct contact with her culture. So she brought us all the way back to Cameroon in 1978. And I was put in Seka Baptist boarding school, which I completely did not enjoy the experience. I was not prepared for that. It was hard. Me and my sister Julie were there for 3 years before my mother took us to GHS Limba, and we were day students. But if she had not done this, I would not have had the rooting and the relationships necessary to be in contact, to be in business here today. Africa is built on relationships. We are very interpersonal. I don't care how successful you are, how much money you have, or how great your idea is. If you don't have man no man, you're not going to get very far. And so I went back to England when I was 16, and I did my O-levels. And then I had one of the most tragic things that could ever happen to a woman, to find herself as a teenage pregnant person and not know what on earth was going to happen to you. But unfortunately, my son only lived for 7 months and died. But that experience really, really shaped me to be strong. If it wasn't for my mother, I don't think I would have had the ability to get up and go. And then I say this because many girls and women get put down and out for the count because something happens to them. But boys don't get put out and down and out for the count if they do something that causes this sort of a hiccup in their lives. If I didn't have the support of my parents and my family and my friends, I wouldn't be here. So when I came to Cameroon, all I knew was I was embraced by the most loving family ever. And they became my rock and my anchor when I needed them the most. My godmother, Dr. Teresa Chombe, was one of the people that kept me under her wings during those times when I was a rather fractious teenager. And so what you see before you today is the product of women that carried me on their shoulders, and a father that told me that because I'm a woman and because I'm black and because I will always have to work 3 times as hard as anyone else, my very bottom level of achievement is somebody else's top level of achievement. So therefore I don't have failure built into my DNA, and that's something that I want to share with other people.
Okay. Viola, General Manager of Ovamba, married, head of a structure, and the husband, head of a family. How does it go?
My husband and I only knew each other for 2 weeks before deciding to be married. And I understand now that what drew us together is what keeps us together. We have an egalitarian relationship where both of us occupy our roles and our platforms of strength. He is the most giving, thoughtful, kind, gentle soul. And I've often said that if I ever even sniff the gates of heaven, it's because I was his wife. He's just a really, really great guy. I've always been surrounded by awesome men. But he has made sacrifices and made a way for me on so many occasions when I didn't think I could do it. And he keeps the fort together and holds the fort down back home. And he's always sending words of encouragement. And plus the fact that he and my business partner are such great friends as well. And plus my business partner is the most amazing wife. You can't divorce yourself internally from your personal and your business. And too many times women are expected to do that. We are integrated human beings. I'm the same person at home as I am in business. And that's, I think, is the platform of strength that I've been fortunate enough to have.
Wow, that's interesting. You have children as well.
Yeah.
And from your schedule, it seems as if you are always on the move. So when do you find time to spend with family?
Technology, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Facebook, silly jokes, phone calls, text messages, you name it. Today's woman does not need to be anchored at home and stuck to the stove and tied to the kitchen sink. Technology gives us the freedom to be wherever we want. We can be on the moon and still run the home. We are women. We are innovative, we are clever, we are crafty, we are creative. We leverage relationships. And also, a lot of today's successful men are no longer anchoring themselves to their gender specificities and all of their stereotypes. My husband is a great cook. He grills like crazy. I know so many men. I saw a picture of a guy, a good friend of mine, Dennis Wobe is his name on Facebook, and he was babaing his baby, smiling and dancing. There are some men that would say that is a no-no, but in today's world, and you have to raise and support a family, you better be interchangeable, otherwise your family will fail. And so will your business, probably.
Okay. Any future projects?
Yes. We will continue to innovate technology. We'll continue to explore the opportunities with the functionally illiterate and the business illiterate. We will continue to find new ways to train entrepreneurs to be better at what they do. We will continue to help them to understand how to balance checkbooks and how to figure out profit. And we'll continue to expand throughout the rest of Africa into brand new markets. In fact, we've even been asked to open a branch in Latin America. So we're here to stay on this planet.
Okay. Few minutes to go. What can you tell all the women watching us right now?
Don't fall for the stereotype. It's not true. Create your own reality. Fail forward. Do not allow the idea that because you're a woman that you must be perfect and be nice to stop you from having the important experimental phase of figuring out who you are and what you do. And then I think that I would also tell those women to don't be afraid of money. Get used to being powerful. Get your hands on the cash. And as I've always said, and because we're women, be careful where you breed. Do not have your children with silly men. You'll have silly children. And you will have accidentally populated the planet with more silly people. You are the bouncers of the planet. You get to choose who gets to come here to live. Take that responsibility very, very seriously. Use your power. Leverage other women, respect yourself, and raise your sons to be really great husbands and great friends. That's the most of what I can say.
Thanks very much. I would say Viola is coming all the way from Douala
Yes.
just to be part of the show, and the crew of The Woman is honored having you today on the show. We wish you the best and more brighter days for your journey, inspiring lives of not only women, but Cameroonians and Africans. Thanks for being with us.
It would not be fair for me to not thank you for this platform. You're an example of how women can give each other a voice where there wasn't one. Your show is fantastic. You're talented. I'm grateful to spend time with you, and I want to just say hi to all the women out there, and I want to say hello to my mum. I love you. Thank you.
That was it for today's edition. I hope you learned something from what Viola had for us today. As for me, what I got from all what she said today is never be discouraged whenever you have something in mind. Never be discouraged when you have a project. Know that if you knock a door and it is closed, a window can be opened. So get on, and thanks for being with us, and do join us again 2 weeks from now for another edition of the program, The Woman. Have a blessed Saturday.
Pour ma petite expérience, je sais que les PME au Cameroun ont beaucoup de difficultés pour s'imposer sur le marché des affaires, parce qu'ils ne sont pas généralement très accompagnés soit par l'État, soit par les entreprises financières privées. Mais aussi, je sais que c'est parce que généralement, on a notre petite idée derrière la tête où il faut qu'on triche. Mais ceux qui veulent réussir, ceux qui sont vrais dans ce qu'ils font, ceux qui sont honnêtes, je pense qu'ils peuvent trouver les places à Ovamba. Je conseille à tous ceux-là qui veulent faire du sérieux de se rapprocher d'Ovamba.
I'm clearly biased because not only are we business partners, but we're friends as well. But I do think that the insights into I think the reality as well for many women is some of the things, for many working women at least, is something that she brings that sometimes is not really obvious to guys. Anything from, the responsibilities many working women have when it comes to not only childcare, but also maybe taking care of parents, etc., and that role in African society, and how to blend that with a very hard job in technology firm, how to balance it out. Frankly, I haven't thought about as a guy. It's not something that I think about, but I do think it's something that being able to create an environment that people can manage their home lives, their personal lives, their family lives, and do great work means we've attracted the best, we've retained the best, and today we have people who are MBAs, PhDs from around the world who've been looking for a way to make a difference, to contribute back to Cameroon and to local society while still maintaining a life, which we've managed to do.